2.5 George Eliot's Middlemarch and Hospital English. In Book 2, Chapter 13, the banker, Mr. Bulstrode, talks with Mr. Lydgate in an interview to see if he is qualified to manage a new hospital in which he has invested. However, Mr. Lydgate lays more emphasis on inward life than tangible things. Specifically speaking, he focuses on medical reforms, in which medical education is what he is concerned the most. Mr. Bulstrode's close attention was not agreeable to the publicans and the sinners in Middlemarch. It was attributed by some to his being a Pharisee, and by others to his being evangelical. Less superficial reasoners among them wished to know who his father and grandfather were, observing that 25 years ago, nobody had ever heard of a Bulstrode in Middlemarch. To his present visitor, Lydgate, the scrutinizing look was a matter of indifference. He simply formed an unfavorable opinion of the banker's constitution and concluded that he had an eager inward life with little enjoyment of tangible things. I shall be exceedingly obliged if you will look in on me here occasionally, Mr. Lydgate, the banker observed after a brief pause. If, as I dare to hope, I have the privilege of finding you a valuable coadjutor in the interesting matter of hospital management, there will be many questions which we shall need to discuss in private. As to the new hospital, which is nearly finished, I shall consider what you have said about the advantages of the special destination for fevers. The decision will rest with me, for though Lord Middlemarch has given the land and timber for the building, he's not disposed to give his personal attention to the object. There are few things better worth the pence in a provincial town like this, said Lydgate. A fine fever hospital in addition to the old infirmary might be the nucleus of a medical school here, when once we get our medical reforms. And what would do more for medical education than the spread of such schools over the countries? A born provincial man who has a grain of public spirit, as well as a few ideas, should do what he can to resist the rush of everything that is a little better than common towards London. The following passages show the connection between the banker and hospital funding in the 19th century England. They also reveal the gap between urban and the rural medical resources in the 19th century England. Mr. Lydgate has a zest for medical reforms, and he hopes these reforms can spread everywhere in England at that time. We can learn about this in his conversation with Mr. Bulstrode. I shall rejoice to furnish your zeal with fuller opportunities, Mr. Bulstrode answered. I mean by confiding to you the superintendence of my new hospital. Should a mature knowledge favor that issue, for I am determined that so great an object should not be shackled by our two physicians. The standard of that profession is low in Middlemarch, my dear sir, said the banker, I mean in knowledge and skill, not in social status. For our medical men are most of them connected with respectable townspeople here. My own imperfect health has induced me to give some attention to those palliative resources which the divine mercy has placed within our reach. I have consulted eminent men in the metropolis, and I'm painfully aware of the backwardness under which medical treatment labors in our provincial districts. Yes, with our present medical rules and education, one must be satisfied now and then to meet with a fair practitioner. As to all the higher questions which determined the starting point of a diagnosis, as to the philosophy of medical evidence, any glimmering of these can only come from a scientific culture of which country practitioners have usually no more notion than the man in the moon. The above conversation is about the establishment of a new hospital in Middlemarch. It reveals the relationship between the founder and the physicians in hospital management. The social status of medical men in Middlemarch is mentioned in this conversation. In 19th century England, physicians and practitioners were different in terms of social class. Physicians and doctors were grouped into higher social categories. They were permitted to dine with family during physician-conducted home visits. Other medical practitioners could only have dinners with servants. Medical words and phrases: fever hospital, infirmary, medical reforms, medical education, surgeons, physicians, my own imperfect health, palliative as an adjective, palliative, medical treatment, medical rules, medical practitioner, medical treatment labors, diagnosis, medical evidence, country practitioners, general practitioners. Medical words and phrases: fever hospital, infirmary, medical reforms, medical education, surgeons, physicians, my own imperfect health, palliative as an adjective, palliative, medical treatment, medical rules, medical practitioner, medical treatment labors, diagnosis, medical evidence, country practitioners, general practitioners.